Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Wow Women of Wisdom. Today I am going to show you how to stitch Chinese collar bolero style tunic or kurti. For this I have taken 2 meters of black and white printed fabric and 1 meter black lace fabric for bolero jacket pattern. So let's start with the measurements. I am showing the measurements on newspaper. Firstly, I'll mark the measurements for the bolero jacket. For this, I have taken the length of the bolero is 10 inches. I'll mark a straight line on 10 inches for the bolero length. Then measure the shoulder width. Half of my shoulder width is 7.5 inches, and for the armhole depth, I have taken 7.5 inches as well, and make a line on for the armhole depth. Neck width I have taken 2.5 inches. Neck width 2.5 inches and neck depth 3 inches, and make a box. Go half inch down for the shoulder drop and connect that point to the neck. Take half of the armhole depth and go half inch inside the pattern and make a point and connect this point to the shoulder drop point and give it shape for the front armhole with the help of armhole curve. Then for the bust measurements, I have taken full round of my bust measurements, adding 2 inch for ease allowance and divide it into by 4, and 1.5 inch extra for the seaming allowance, and then connect these points. And now give a round shape joined to the neck as shown in the video. And then cut the fabric as per the marked measurements. And now mark the measurements for the back bodice pattern. For this I have taken the body's length 10 inches as well and make a line on that point. Then shoulder width I have taken 7.5 inches and armhole depth 7.5 inches. I have taken half inch for the shoulder drop, neck width I have taken 2.5 inches and neck depth I have taken 1 inch for the back pattern. Give it a curve shape for the neck and armhole shape as well. And for the bust measurements, I have taken the full round of bust, adding 2 inch for ease allowance and divide it into by 4, and mark that point, and 1.5 inch extra for the seaming allowance, and cut the pattern as per the marked measurements. Now mark the measurements for the front pattern other than the bolero. For this I have taken shoulder width and shoulder depth 7.5 inches as well, and give it a front armhole curve shape as I given to the bolero pattern. Half inch for the shoulder drop, and then neck depth I have taken 6.5 inches. 6.5 inches neck depth I have taken, and join that point to the armhole midpoint with a curved line, and then mark waist point at 14 inches and hip point at 21 inches as shown in the video. Now mark the bust measurements. Full round of bust plus 2 inch of ease allowance, divided it into by 4, and 1.5 inch extra for the seaming allowance. And for the waist measurements I have taken full round of waist plus 1 or 2 inch of ease allowance, divided it into by 4 and 1.5 inch extra for the seaming allowance. Then for the hip measurements, full round of hip plus 1 inch for ease allowance, divided it into by 4 and 1 inch extra for the seaming allowance. And now cut the pattern as per the marked measurements. As my newspaper is small in length, so I'll mark the full length of the kurti on fabric. Now I am showing you how to cut the sleeves. For this I am making full sleeves. Length of the sleeves is 21 inches. And then make a point on 3.5 inches and make a line on that point. Then on this line mark a point on 7.5 inches and 1.5 inch extra for the seaming allowance. And then give it a curve shape as shown in the video. And for the front curve shape, take ½ inch inside the pattern and join the point as shown in the video. Now measure your arm round and mark half of that measurement and 1.5 inch extra for seaming allowance. And then join these points as shown in the video. And then cut the pattern as per the marked measurements. Now place your bolero patterns on the fabric. Front pattern of bolero place onto the single layer of the fabric and cut the front bolero patterns, leaving 3/4 of an inch space for folding at the curvy sides of the bolero. And back body's pattern place onto the folded side and cut the pattern accordingly. Place the sleeves pattern onto the 4 folding layers of fabric, 2 open and 2 closed sides and 4 closed sides, and cut the pattern accordingly. Now place the front pattern other than the bolero onto the folded fabric as shown. I have taken the full length of the tunic 46 inches. So leave 6.5 inches to the upper side of the pattern, since the front neck depth I have taken 6.5 inches, and then mark the length of the tunic. And for the bottom measurements, add 1 inch extra to the hip measurements and join with the lines and cut the fabric, leaving ½ inch of margin to the neck side for stitching. Now I am showing you how to cut the back pattern other than the bodies. Since I have taken for back body's length 10 inches, so fold the front paper pattern by 10 inches and place it onto the folded fabric, leaving ½ inch margin for the stitches. And now mark the full length of the tunic, reducing the length by 10 inches. That is now 36 inches. I have taken the full length of the tunic is 46 inches, then minus 10 inches for the bodies, that is now 36 inches. And mark the bottom measurements, adding 1 inch to the hip measurements and join with the lines. And now cut the pattern accordingly. I have done with the cutting of all pattern pieces. Front bolero pieces I have given a 3/4 of an inch of space for folding. Then back piece cut on folded fabric and leave an ½ inch of space for stitching at the bottom. And sleeves cut on 4 folds. 4 closed sides here and 4 open sides here, and leave an inch of space for folding at the wrist. Then for front piece, cut with half inch of space for stitching at the neck part. Then for the back piece, cut with half inch of space at the upper part for stitching. Now I will show you how to stitch these pieces. First of all, take front bolero pieces and double fold the curvy edges and make a stitch line to both the pieces. And then place the front and back pieces of bolero facing right side each other and stitch both the shoulders together. And then for the front piece neck hemming, take 1.5 inch of bias strip, place it right on right and make a stitch line, and then double fold it to the wrong side and make a stitch line. After doing this, I will show you. I have done with the folded curvy edges of the bolero and shoulder stitching, and now measure the full neck for the attaching the Chinese collar. In this tutorial I am not showing you the collar part. For this you can watch my video for front open Chinese collar jacket tunic. And now place the right side of the bolero on front right side body piece and make a stitch line to the armhole to attach the bolero to the body piece as shown in the video, and attach the back body piece to the bolero facing right side each other. After doing this, I will show you. I have done with attaching the front bolero pieces to the armhole of front body piece and also the back pieces. And now join both the sleeves facing right side each other as shown in the video. And now give the side stitching to the tunic. Both the sides we have to give stitching, and hem the side slits and bottom of the tunic by double folding it. And the next I will show you the final look of the tunic. One important thing that I'll want to share with you, when you are making this type of neck, it will be loose a little bit at the chest area. Since it's a simple kurti without any dart, so you'll just have to stitch the kurti first and try it and check how it loose. Then reduce the armhole to both sides as shown in the video. It can be half or an inch and you will get a fitted kurti.